Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Now in sports, the Cavaliers beat the Heat by 55 last night, 138-83. They send the Heat home. They won that series 4-0. And also the Warriors beat the Rockets 109-106. They lead the series 3-1. And that series is very chippy, boy. They are 2 seconds away from just straight up and down brawling. But
That's
great
playoff
games.
basketball. That's what we love to see. I'm glad to see the NBA being physical. I like the game the other night between Detroit and the Knicks.
That was a great game.
They was physical.
They were
Last night,
physical.
Warriors and Rockets were physical. I like it. That's what playoff basketball is about.
What's up, Morgan?
Hey, y'all. Hey, good morning and happy Tuesday, everybody. How you feeling?
Blessed, black, and highly favored. How are you, Morgan?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Let's keep in line with sports, but let's make it political, right? So President Trump, he honored the Philadelphia Eagles on the South Lawn of the White House yesterday following their Super Bowl championship win. Now, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts was among some players who did not attend the ceremony due to scheduling conflicts, but that didn't stop the president from honoring the team. Let's take a listen to President Trump speaking at the ceremony.
That was a special day. That was a big one. But the Eagles have turned out to be an incredible team, an incredible group with a fantastic coach and coaches. And having you at the White House is very, very special and important. And we appreciate you being here.
So President Trump also shined a spotlight on the team's star running back, Saquon Barkley. The two had the opportunity to play golf over the weekend ahead of this visit, and Barkley also rode with the president on Air Force One. Now, the president joked, kind of tongue-in-cheek, saying that he offered Saquon Barkley a ride on Air Force One, and usually people are like, no, that's okay, but Barkley was like, yeah. So let's take a listen to President Trump honoring Saquon Barkley.
The season started off slow, but you soon caught fire with your great coach inspiring you, and you got the ball to your superstar running back who I met yesterday, and I want to tell you he's a handsome guy, but I wouldn't want to tackle him. Saquon Barkley. Where's Saquon?
Did he just say he wouldn't want to sleep with him?
No, he said tackle him. Tackle him.
What does that mean? He's a handsome guy, but I wouldn't want to tackle him. Just because he's handsome doesn't mean I want to tackle him. I don't want to sleep with him, but he's handsome.
He said tackle him is football, Charlamagne. Okay.
What would he be tackling him for? He's not a football player. Read between the lines.
What's wrong with you, man?
Okay.
If I was the Eagles, I wouldn't have went simply because Trump was rooting for the Chiefs. Forget all the politics and all that. You was rooting for the Chiefs heavy, okay? Heavy.
Yeah, he was rooting for the Chiefs, but some of the players wanted to go. I mean, it's still an opportunity to meet the president, so it is.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's what Saquon was saying. He pushed back on the criticism he received for playing golf with Trump over the weekend. In a social media post, he said, quote, maybe he just respects the office. Not a hard concept to understand. Now, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham, Nolan Smith, and Zach Braun also had a scheduling conflict, so they did not attend the ceremony. Moving on, the White House is signaling that it is not extending the Real ID deadlines. Remember, I told you guys about that about a month ago. Real ID, you got to be Real ID compliant. So get to the DMV, the MVA, the MVD, whatever they call it in your area. Get there and make sure that you have an updated ID. So Kentucky lawmakers sent a letter to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem asking for a delay on Real ID enforcement, citing the potential for long lines at the DMV, or what they call in Kentucky the MVD. They call it the MVA here in Maryland. As a result, some other states are hiring more staff and increasing DMV hours. So the Trump administration says all states will need to comply by the May 7th deadline. That's literally around the corner. May 7th is the deadline. So Real ID is an enhanced security driver's license that will be needed to board any domestic airline flight. Let me repeat that. Domestic. That means stateside. That means if you going to Atlanta from Maryland, if you going to California, if you traveling in the States, you're going to need to be Real ID compliant. So it's definitely not giving. Try it with this administration's, but I'm not going to get too much into that. We'll talk more on the other side.
I wonder how that works because, I have my people reach out because, to get the Real ID, and they say you can't get appointments with the DMV unless your license expires within the next 3 months.
Yeah, and the same thing I was gonna say with Charlamagne. I don't have a Real ID, and when they said you have to schedule an appointment, and my appointment's not until June.
So is your license expiring, Envy?
It's not expiring, but
he probably has flights between now and then, right?
Yes, of course. So I can't get a Real ID till June, but they're saying Until that, you have to carry your passport or your passport card.
But I can't get one until 2027 because that's when my license expires. So my point is, what I thought you could just go to the DMV and get a real ID, but they telling me no, you can't get one until your license expires.
Right.
But they're going to continue to issue them as well beyond the deadline. It's not like, the deadline's over, so you can't get another one or you won't be able to get one. They will continue to issue them beyond the deadline. It's just a matter of that is the deadline. So if you have a flight beyond May 7th, it's going to be a...
No, I understand the deadline, Morgan. What I'm saying is I want to get a real ID right now, but they're saying I can't because they say you got to... They say unless your license expires within the next 3 months. So I can't get one for 2 years?
Well, no, they told me I just had to make an appointment. I just made an appointment, and they made me an appointment for June, and I could do it. But the problem with it is like what Charlamagne said. If I'm traveling May 8th and my appointment's in June, what the hell am I going to do?
Well, you carry your passport.
If you have a passport. A lot of people don't have passports.
Right, absolutely, which is exactly why the Kentucky lawmakers are asking for that delay. But we'll get more into what's going on with Trump. It's his first 100 days in office, and he also signed executive orders on immigration. So stick around for more front page news at 7.
And I would also say this to people that's trying to get a real ID. They have these centers where you can actually walk up and do it. It's not at the DMV. So when I went to the International Car Show, the car show is in every state, they had places where you can just walk up to the booth and they'll do it right then and there. They just don't have it in Jersey, so I wasn't able to do it. But New York, they have it for New York. I think they have it for Georgia. They have it for a lot of different places, so definitely call and ask, but I just can't do it to June. So we'll see what happens May 8th when I got to travel. But thank you. That is Front Page News. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. We are the Breakfast Club. Lon Rosa filling in for Jess. And let's get in some Front Page News. Now, NBA playoffs last night. The Cavaliers beat the Heat 138-83, beat them by 55. Heat is up out of here. And the Warriors beat the Rockets 109-106. They lead that series 3-1. What's up, Morgan?
Yeah. What's up? That was crazy, that sweep. Anyways, let's get into this presidential news. It's officially President Trump's 100th day in office, and he's marking the occasion with a rally today in Michigan at the Macomb Community College, just north of Detroit. What up, though? He is expected to speak about his work on the border, which brings me to my next point. Yesterday, he signed multiple executive orders related to immigration. One of the orders mandates truck drivers to be proficient in English. Another order to crack down on sanctuary jurisdiction, and that order calls for a list of identifying such sanctuary jurisdictions that obstruct the enforcement of federal immigration laws within 30 days. Now, the White House is focusing on President Trump's immigration crackdown during the first 100 days of his second administration. It's the first of several days meant to showcase Trump's sweeping agenda. Meanwhile, during a White House briefing yesterday, Border Czar Tom Homan addressed the U.S. citizen children who were deported with their mothers. And he had a message for those who remain in the country illegally who have U.S. citizen children. Let's take a listen to Border Czar Tom Homan.
If you choose to have a U.S. citizen child, knowing you're in this country legally, you put yourself in that position. You put your family in that position. What we did is remove children with their mothers who requested the children depart with them. This was a parental decision. The law clearly says if you arrive at our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, shall. And that's what President Trump's doing. Catch and release is over.
He says catch and release is over.
Yeah, I do think when the media has that conversation, we can't rage bait, though. Because, every time they say it, they'll be like, oh, a 2-year-old got deported, a 3-year-old got deported, but they're not telling the whole story of their parent was here illegally, and so the parent got deported, and so they sent the child with them. Because when I hear it, I'm like, why the hell would they deport a 2-year-old? Why would they deport some child with cancer? But then there's a whole other story that goes with it. The only reason I think that media should be completely honest and tell the whole totality of the story is because that's when people label things fake news.
But I would ask, are the kids forced to leave, right? So if the kid has a family member that's here legally, are you making the kid leave because the parents are leaving, or could the kid stay with his grandparents, or could the kid stay with his father, or could the kid stay with his uncle? That's the only thing, because they're saying those kids are forced to leave regardless with moms.
I mean, what parent would want that, though? What parent would you want your child?
A lot of parents would want their child to stay here instead of going back. A lot of parents would, absolutely, positively.
Yeah, and that's essentially what the Border Czar was saying, Tom Homan. He was saying that, the mothers who wanted to take their children with them, that's their call. They're going to take their children with them. But if you decide that if your child is a U.S. citizen, they can remain here with a family member who is also probably a U.S. citizen. That's essentially what's happening in that regard, in that case. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also addressed the efforts, or lack thereof, to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the U.S. after he was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. Remember, the Supreme Court ordered that the administration facilitate his return. But here's what she had to say in regards to that case.
That is his home country. That is where he belongs. And the administration intends to comply with what President Bukele said of El Salvador. He does not intend to send that individual back.
Yeah, so
I completely forgot about him. And that was just last week. No, I'm not. You know, they flood the zone so much with so much information. Like, I completely forgot about him. I'm already thinking about, now it's about the little kid who got deported and the kid with cancer who got deported. I completely forgot about him.
Yeah, see, it tends to pile up, but I'm not going to get too much into that. Let's switch gears. President Trump is fresh off a meeting with House Speaker Mike Johnson to discuss pushing forward budget legislation. Now, last week, Johnson said the House is pushing to get the spending bill approved by Memorial Day. Some of the issues that Republicans remain at odds over include potential cuts to Medicaid spending, tax cuts, and military spending. The GOP legislation is currently in various committees that will create drafts before the Budget Committee combines them into the one large package that, President Trump likes for the Senate and House to vote on. Johnson said that Trump was in good spirits in regards to those talks. And my last story switches, everybody likes apple juice, right? We all love a good tall glass, cold glass of apple juice. Well, careful drinking that Martinelli's and Company apple juice right there. Over 7,000 cases of apple juice are being recalled. S. Martinelli and Company says some of its apple juice has been contaminated by patulin, a toxic substance that is created by mold. Now, the recall affects more than 173,000 bottles of apple juice distributed across 28 states. Wow. Now, the FDA says the exposure to the substance could cause adverse health consequences, and the World Health Organization also says patulin is a poisonous substance found in rotting apples and could cause nausea and vomiting. So be careful drinking that apple juice. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up.
Always having issues. That's like
it's so crazy because people say it's the best one, and it's like, ooh, well, now you got to be careful. Not only do you got to be careful about what all of what's going on in the world, but now you got to be careful. Well, you still got to be careful about what you put in your body too. So there's that. But that's your front page news, y'all. Y'all follow me on socials at Morgan Media, MorganMedia. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download that free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Morgan.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.